Back everyone to another Working Out with Aaron Briggs video. Aaron, what do we have today?
Today is a cardio day. We've got about 20 to 25 minutes depending on how you look at it. And as we normally do, we're going to warm up with the same movements that we're going to use. So if you'd like to join us, you can start to kind of mimic what we're doing. If you like knowing the terms, our first exercise is called a deadlift. And again, that's us just bending down towards the ground and then standing back up again. We use this for being able to pick stuff up. Really, that's kind of what we say all the time. And yeah, the goal right here is just to move well. Now, the second exercise that we're going to do is called a row or a pull. And again, to give you kind of a reminder, today you're going to see two things. Maggie has her little pink jar of bubbles, which is awesome.
Okay, that's a pretty big pink jar of bubbles.
Let's
call it what it is here.
And I'm going to be doing the body weight version of this. Again, because we realize that some people have weight, some people don't. And so we always want you to be able to do these things no matter what you have at your disposal. Your third exercise is any sort of a push. Now, technically, it's what we've been calling a clean. And that's where Maggie's just kind of lifting something up to her shoulders, right? So she's done her deadlift, she's done her row, and now she's really just getting that weight up to her shoulders and maybe even overhead. I am warming up with a plank, maybe even a plank to push up, really just kind of playing around with anything that gets the muscles that I use to push, kind of getting those warmed up and ready for you, right? And so as a little bit of a roadmap here, okay, we've done our 3 exercises, and then after we do those, you're going to have the option to do what we call active recovery. Now, you can rest if you want to, but since today is cardio, the intention is actually to kind of keep moving as much as you can. So again, take rest where needed. But our version of the active recovery today is going to be what we call a down dog rep. We'll talk about that in a little bit. 4, 3, 2, 1, let's officially begin. So back to where we started, we're going to go with deadlifts. And again, for my people that love to know the particulars, here's what to expect. Every movement today is going to last for 60 seconds. We're also going to stack today. And what that means is that after this first minute is done, you're not done with deadlifts. You're going to keep doing them. You're just going to add a movement to it and then do that little combination, right? Kind of a deadlift plus a row for 60 seconds. And then the third minute, you're going to add another movement. You're going to do a deadlift plus a row plus a clean or a push, something like that. And after we've done 3 minutes, we do a reset. We'll do a minute of active recovery. We're going to give you some options, and then we're going to start that over again. So every little cycle takes 4 minutes. We're going to go 5 rounds, which is, again, at its minimum, a 20-minute workout.
Yep. Okay.
So again, now you know what's coming. You've got about 8 more seconds. Deadlifts are looking good. You're bending down to the ground. You're standing up tall. 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to add a row into the mix. So if you watch both Maggie and I, we're still bending, still reaching towards the ground. And at some point, we're adding a row. Now, I experimented, if you're following along with me, I experimented with rowing from the bottom position. I didn't like it that much. So because I have nothing, I have the freedom. I'm bending, standing all the way up, and then I'm pulling my elbows right behind me. And again, it's a workout. That's kind of what we're aiming for here. Maggie, on the other hand, is kind of doing that row within the middle of her deadlift. If you'll watch her, she bends down and then doesn't come right up yet. Right. She pulls that, those bubbles up towards herself and then stands up again. Any way works. The idea is that you're just kind of squishing together 2 different workouts, right?
Yeah, stacking together, or sometimes I have to say it out loud as I'm doing it. Yeah. Before we have been practicing this, so I have to say like deadlift, row, deadlift, row.
3, 2, 1. So get ready to add something else to that statement.
And that's why it helps. Push. So it's a deadlift, row, push, or another word for this would be clean, but we don't have to get caught up in
press or anything like that. Yeah.
Press. We don't have to get caught up in like the formal form of a clean, but that could just be, if you've got a heavier weight, it could be that you're just lifting it up to your shoulders and then back down. But since both Aaron and I have the ability to, we are going above our head.
Exactly, and this is a good point. 30 seconds left, by the way. Since today is a cardio day, we're really not needing a heavy weight, or really any weight at all. The idea here is that we're moving and moving well, and by the time we're a few rounds into this, our heart should be beating. This is really at its basis a cardio workout. you do not need to lift heavy. And that's why we chose the bubbles for you. We realized that the big kettlebell that we had was a little too big.
Yep,
for
it was
that.
just
It
a
was
little.
hard
Yeah,
to do.
I mean, it was fine. It was workable.
You can
for
work
sure.
with what you have. 3, 2, 1, and now is your time for active recovery. So again, if you're following along, think about getting into that push-up position and then pushing your hips up towards the ceiling or the back wall, and then coming back down to that push-up position. You do not have to do push-ups here. That would make that much more challenging, right? So the idea with something like this is that it's what we call active recovery. You are not working as hard, but you're still working. You're still moving. And so the most popular version of active recovery for any exercise ever is walking. If you have the ability in your home, or if you're doing this outside, to just walk around for a minute, you win. You've got it down. You could be doing some light core if you wanted to, as long as you're giving your muscles a little bit of rest, but keeping them somewhat engaged.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah, keeping that heart kind of going, just not sitting down, essentially, is kind of one of the things, right? I mean, not just sitting down and doing nothing.
Take the rest if you need it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Congratulations, that's round 1. Let's move into round 2. Your next 4 minutes begins now. Okay, so we've got a couple of things to think about. One is that it's the second round, and we're going to dial things up a little bit.
And let's tell them first, you go ahead and start those deadlifts.
Yes,
gang.
deadlifts.
Starting this round with deadlifts.
Just
the first
deadlifts.
minute is just deadlifts.
Yeah. Yeah, and so your intention, now that you kind of got a feel for it, right? Now that you made sure that the movement feels good, you've adjusted, you've kind of done what you need to do, now we're adding a little bit of oomph to it. And again, my favorite way to do that is to, pardon me, is to at once during every rep, just stand tall, stand proud, kind of flex a bit. I always tell people, turn into a statue for just a half a second. Really flex everything you got and make sure that it's again on, that you're doing what you need to do. And in about 10 seconds, we're going to add a row. And I'm going to ask Maggie how she felt, because she had kind of a fun little aha moment when she was doing these today. 3, 2, 1, add that row. So Mags, tell us, when you were adding that little, you had mentioned when you were doing this, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not so heavy, I can really flex. What'd you feel then?
Yeah, I think I was really, like you kind of said the other day too, in one of our row, when we were doing deadlifts.
Yeah.
You said really just flexing your whole backside. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to try that. And it was definitely different. I can tell that I haven't necessarily been doing that in the past. And it was great to kind of feel like, oh, okay, this is what that feels like. Like, this is when I flex all my muscles on my backside. And it was great to be able to do that with a little bit of a lighter weight, because I wasn't distracted by lifting the heavy weight.
Exactly. Great point, right? So it's just kind of a fun way to do it. I think it makes it not only more interesting, but it ultimately makes it better, right? You just feel your form getting a little bit better. You've got about 8 seconds left. Again, you've done a nice job of adding a row to your deadlift. In about 3 seconds, you're going to add a third movement, a push or a press. 2, 1, go ahead and add that last movement. And again, I'm going to give you a little heads up. If you're watching Maggie, she does pretty much the same thing the whole time. And that's on purpose. That's for consistency. Yeah. For those of you that want to follow along with that, a lot of people thrive with that kind of consistency. They don't want big changes. If you like a little more variety, or you need a little more variety, you can watch me. I'm going to be doing something a little different every single time that we go through these things. This particular time, my goal was to balance on my right leg, do kind of a bent over row, and then I got down into kind of a push-up. I did a push-up. And it worked for me. I enjoyed that. It was something that, again, felt like cardio. It dialed it up. It's starting to feel like exercise. So again, just remember, you've got some options here, right? You don't have to stick with just me or just Maggie. You can kind of mix and match. The goal is that you're moving well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Active recovery time. So again, get into those down dog positions, start walking around, march in place, do a little balance. The point is to keep the workout going, but to take the level down a little bit. Like I like to, tell people, when we're looking at the intensity of exercise, usually I'll say, hey, exercise feels easy, it feels medium, or it feels challenging. And most of the time, we're aiming for moderate to challenging. When you're doing active recovery, this is one of the times it should feel easy or easy to moderate. It really doesn't need to feel very challenging. I like to, kind of highlight the word recovery here. It really is about letting the heart rate settle back down, you able to get some breaths in, and we're just keeping it active. Okay, you've got about 15 more seconds. And again, there's lots of options here. You'll see me doing my little bear walk back and forth. I think Maggie took a little child pose rest, but the goal is we're still moving. You've got 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's begin again. You're 8 minutes in, 2 rounds in. Let's start round 3 right now. And again, the call is
start those deadlifts.
Just deadlifts. You've got it down. Okay, and again, you've got some variety here. Work with what Maggie's doing. You can mimic me. Again, naked deadlifts, right, where you're doing just the deadlift, or single leg deadlifts. One thing I had said or mentioned before is when you're on one leg and doing deadlifts for about a minute, the sneaky thing that pops in is how much fatigue your calves get. If you have wanted to kind of lean out and shape up those calves, or just want a little burn in that one, whoo, standing on one leg for a minute, for 2 minutes straight, oh man, does that work. And if anyone has wanted to work on their balance, this is a great time to do so. No weight, you're getting some extra reps in. Oh, it's so good for you. 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep whatever you're doing and add a little bit of a row. Now this time, you'll see me do 1 row, and then I decide to change it up a little bit. I am going to go with an upright, kind of an arm raise there.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, still a little back, a little bit of shoulders, and it's in the same family, right? And
you look like you're flying.
Looks like I feel like Superman, exactly right. And so what I'm gonna suggest to you is, while we're focusing on stuff that kind of works most of our backside, right? A deadlift and a row work those backsides. You can really substitute any movement. Remember, the goal is cardio. The goal is cardio here. So it almost doesn't matter what you do, just that you're doing it and that it feels good. If you like doing a deadlift and then a bicep curl, do that. That's totally fine. Right?
Yeah.
If you'd rather do a squat and a tricep press, you can do that too. The goal is just to move and to move well. Okay? And on that topic, let's talk about our intention for our 3rd round, which should be make it feel like exercise, right? And for most people, you're gonna have no doubt about that. You're like, okay,
2, 1. Go ahead and add that press.
Thank you, Mags.
Yeah.
So again, most of you are not gonna have to worry about it. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's exercise. But if it's not, that's why we always remind you, is to say, okay, just make sure that it's feeling that way. And if it's not, right, if you're thinking, man, it's still pretty easy, well, the simple fix to that is to add more of that flex, or with cardio days, instead of adding weight, probably move faster. See if you can get more reps into that time. As always, keeping your form clean, right? Priority number 1. Make sure it looks and feels good. Look good,
feel good.
Yep.
And Aaron, would you say this part of the workout should feel moderate or hard or?
Overall, anywhere between moderate and challenging.
Okay, great.
Yep. Yeah, cardio days like this, for me personally, they always just feel a little more moderate. It's weight. I need like heavy weights to feel really challenging. And I could go faster if I wanted to, but I'm also okay. Like I said, the range is moderate. So this, I just like I like moderate cardio more than I like really challenging cardio.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice job. With your 3rd round, you're going to move into your active recovery. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, way to go, gang.
And again, pay attention to how everything here is feeling. I'm personally doing a lot of floor work. My wrists feel okay with doing that, but I know a lot of people have really tight wrists. If you need to take a little bit of a break here and kind of stretch out those wrists, you may do that. Again, my go-to stretch for that is to put the back of my hands on the ground and then very gently kind of rock forward and backward. Not from my toes, from my knees. If you've seen some of our previous videos, you've seen that. Okay, you've got about 20 more seconds. Again, a little bit of recovery. You're staying active. Overall, your intensity has probably dropped down to something that feels easy, and that's right on. That's what we're looking for. You've got about 8 more seconds here, and then we're going to get into round 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 rounds done. Give yourself a little fist pump, a little pat on the back, and let's go ahead and begin your deadlift or deadlift option.
A little air high five.
4. Little air high five.
Like we're all supposed to be doing right now, right?
That's right. Okay, now again, quick chat. I am doing, instead of a regular deadlift, I'm doing a side shuffle. Again, one of probably my second favorite deadlift activity, right? My way to work through that. My Apple Watch just gave me credit. Woohoo! Got my workout done for the day.
According to your Apple Watch.
Right, according to my watch. But the side shuffle here, I love it for especially a cardio day. It's active, it's bending, it's a little rotation, it's a little side shuffle. It's ways that we don't always move. So again,
Right.
I really like this one. I think you can do it just about anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you have just a really small space.
Yeah, and you've got a little hop, Aaron, but I know you've said it can just be like walking back and forth
Totally.
too. It doesn't
Oh,
have
absolutely.
to be, some people are limited. They can't necessarily jump or hop.
Right. And I could do this on something the size of a postage stamp too, right?
Exactly.
I don't need a rug.
Yes.
It's
3,
really
2, 1. Go
step
ahead and
and
start
bend.
that row, gang.
Yeah, exactly
Deadlift
right.
and a row. Stacking those movements.
And again, if you're following along with me for a little bit of variety, when I get to every side, I just do a little arm raise, kind of like I'm flapping my wings, right? And again, it's just a gentle feel in my back. It doesn't have to feel really heavy. This isn't a strength day.
Right.
It's motion, and it's adding up into moderate level cardio for me. And my heart rate was up.
Yeah, and Aaron, I like how you said like, oh, if your wrists are hurting you or something like that. It really is nice to know that this is that cardio day that we can, go into a lot of different types of movements, but at the same time, like we've done all the work for you of thinking through this, 20, 25 minutes.
Good
So you don't have to really think either. Like if you want to just do what we're doing, that's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
That's why we're showing you all
Exactly.
this stuff.
3, 2, 1, and you're gonna add that third movement. Press, a little bit of a reach, do what you need to do. And again, if you'll watch me, you'll see that, yep, I do that side shuffle, I do that little flap my wings, and then I just reach up to the ceiling. No weight.
Oh, there you go.
It's
Okay.
just motion.
Great.
Just motion. Sometimes I do it every, side. Most of the time I was just sticking to just one side and doing that. And again, because I could.
Yeah,
It just
exactly.
doesn't matter, right? It's just motion.
Yeah.
Yep. You get to
Yeah,
work
and
in
I
there.
think what's really fun about what you're doing, Aaron, specifically is like the kids could do it right along with
Yeah.
us. Like that's kind of a fun thing too, is that if we had more space here, we'd absolutely be welcoming our kids into these videos, but you can see our space is a little limited.
That would be a disaster if they were all in there.
But
At the same time.
but we do these things with our kids. Like
Yeah, we
I'll start doing some stretches on the ground without even really saying,
4,
"Oh, kids, we're gonna do a
3,
workout."
2, 1, active recovery.
And then they just join in.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we want to make movement really fun for our kids, and that's part of it. Is just kind of doing these movements without weights, just kind of hopping around. Like I think we've told you guys before, we do a lot of like animal movements with our kids. And they just love it, and they are amazing at it. Like
Yeah.
they can bear crawl till the sun goes down. I mean, it's amazing.
We haven't talked a lot about it. When we work out with our kids, right? If this is something that you're thinking about, whether it's kids or grandkids, right? Maybe you got some
right.
grandkids over.
Yeah.
We do not make it formal at all. We don't
No.
even say that it's exercise. It's play.
Yeah.
And there's no timer.
It's
you know?
very
It's-
like organic. It just kind of happens.
Right.
It might happen during a dance party. It might happen
Right.
when we're downstairs and just goofing around, chasing a balloon around.
10 more seconds here. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of kids in my time as a trainer, and
Yeah.
typically the younger they are, the more we focus on play.
Absolutely.
2, 1, let's start that last round. Again, just deadlifts. Well done through round 4.
Yeah.
And again, let's talk about our priorities. No matter what you're doing, priority number 1 is to look good and feel good. Make sure that this movement feels good for you. Even if you're trying something different every time like I am, you always have the ability to say, ooh, I'm not sure I like that, and go back to do something that does feel good for you. Priority number 2 is to make sure that it's dialed up a little bit. At some point during a rep, make sure that you're just flexing. Make sure that that form looks awesome. Make sure that it feels awesome. Priority number 3 in order is make it feel like exercise. If you've got all 3 of those, you're rocking it, and then your
Yeah.
goal at this point is just to finish well. Take it all the way home. This is our last round of deadlifts. You've got about 12 more seconds. Keep going. You look good. Your form looks great. It feels like exercise. You are winning the day. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep what you're doing and add that row move or add that second move. Now, something interesting I'm doing is I'm doing that naked kettlebell swing, right?
Yeah.
No kettlebell, no weight. Just practicing that swing, which is getting your glutes. I mean, it's
Oh,
getting
yeah.
anything on that backside.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I'm doing what's called scaption or a Y raise. If you've ever done the YMCA dance, you know how to do this one. Even if you've
Perfect
just
form,
seen it.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Why?
Do you know I've actually never
say-
done the dance?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise
No.
me at all.
I did watch.
Mr. No Dance.
I think I watched the Muppets do.
I mean, you dance at home and stuff, but you didn't start dancing until you married me, so.
That's true. Yeah. All right, you got about 20 seconds to go here. I get dragged into it.
Stop it. You like dancing.
All right, about 12 seconds to go. Keep rocking it. Again, you're combining two movements.
You don't like the attention you get if you dance, but you like dancing, right?
4.
Is that what it is?
Kind of. 3, 2, 1. Add that third movement. Now, something that I haven't done in any of these videos before is a little bit of a tricep press without anything. And again, this one is surprisingly
you're doing that now, yeah.
challenging without anything at all. When you click back and flex for a moment, your triceps get on.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and part of the reason I did this, I always think of, who these videos are for, and it's for the people that I work with, right?
Yeah.
It's for moms,
it's for people like us.
dads, it's for people like us,
Yeah.
it's for grandmas, grandpas, and every single person who said their kind of goal statement is, I just want to look good and feel good, right? I want to look better, I want to feel better, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And almost everyone points to their tummy and says, make this better. And then they point to the underside of their arms and they go, this needs to stop jiggling. And so that tricep press, that thing that I did right there, yes, like do those, do 1,000,000 of those, right? And that will help, that will work. Do those every chance you get. 3, 2, 1, well done. You wrapped up the big cardio part of it, and we're gonna tie a nice little bow on it with your active recovery. So keep in mind, when we do active recovery in between rounds of exercise, it's to get your heart rate down. When you do it at the end of an exercise, it's to get your heart rate down, but for good, right? The idea is this is almost a bit of a cool down. Some people call it a warm down.
Yeah.
And again, the idea is to move well.
Yeah, so I think I just went into just a down dog instead of the down dog like press
which
movement.
is totally fine. It's still
just
active.
a down dog, just stretching, just
yeah, take a breath,
breathing.
start to slow down.
Yeah.
You did excellent.
Awesome.
Okay, now again, a quick heads up, in about 15 seconds, you're gonna see us go ahead and move into our stretches for the day. Again, it's optional. If you're ready to be done, if you don't need the stretches, just stop the video when we're done. Or maybe fast forward to the end. Maggie usually has a couple of tips and pointers in the last 20 or 30 seconds. But if you do want to join us, we're going to go ahead and move into what's called our lounge chair stretch. And again, this is just to help with shoulder mobility. And I always like to give credit where it's due. I had never heard of this lounge chair stretch before I did a flexibility program through the people at Gold Medal Bodies, or GMB. If you're curious, look them up online. I think they do just great stuff. I model a lot of my coaching after their styles. I just really enjoy what they do. At any rate, I learned this stretch from them. And so it's, again, just a fantastic one. But the reminder here is that you're really just leaning back onto those hands. I like pointing my fingers towards my feet.
Yeah.
I think Maggie at some points has pointed her fingers away from her feet. And then what you're doing is you're just pushing your sternum out and up. I always think of I'm pushing it up towards the corner of the room, right? Kind of where the ceiling meets the wall.
Kind of like sitting tall and proud.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like
squeezing your back muscles together a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's two parts to it. The first, if we hold for a minute, the first half, the first 30 seconds is really just holding that position. And then the second half is including a little movement, which is what you'll see us doing now, which is kind of a pulse. I push my chest, my sternum out, and then I relax, and then I push it out and then I relax. And I'll do that for a little bit of time. Okay? Now that we're done with that, again, we almost always roll right back into the posture that we're checking, which in this case is arm circles. We're really just kind of doing those big sweeping movements. We're going to do about 30 seconds on each one. And yeah, you had a great workout today. We've got the next, 30 to 90 seconds. I'm going to let Mags roll us out.
Yeah, I also wanted to just mention too that I know that Erin has done a lot of reading about these mobility postures, not just in that course, but also just in like how they can point to just having good overall health.
Yeah.
Like how moving around, being able to get up off the ground, being able to move your arms all around like we are, kind of, rotating them 100% around the clock. That's something that is just a good sign of health, overall health. And if you're having a hard time moving in a certain way, like Erin has a ton of training and a ton of experience helping people with working on that as well. So reach out to us for sure.
It's a big part of the feel better part of the goal.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
And Erin has worked through injuries with clients and through surgeries and all sorts of things. He's super knowledgeable about that stuff. So
I'm here for you if you need help.
yeah. And with that, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us. We're so proud of you guys. Feel free to share our videos. We would love to just have more people working out with us. So if you want to share these videos, we've got some fun things coming up in the few weeks ahead as well. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And make it a great day, gang.